the reason that you're perfect for introducing this film tonight is because of the next book that you've written. Could you give a little description of that?
Well, it's a caper novel. That's why I brought this so I could be ready. I deliberately dressed like this so you will know that after this, I'm going to go out and live up the caper world. So this is my caper outfit.
Plus it's warmer.
Yeah, it's warmer. I decided I wanted to write a caper novel because I'm a big fan of caper movies and caper novels, and I like that whole genre, and I always wanted to give that a shot. And since I was under contract with HarperCollins to write another young adult book, I thought, all right, I'm going to try writing a young adult. I guess the way my agent is explaining it to others as she shakes her head, it's a young adult romantic comedy caper novel with a dark noir ending. Bestseller. so it's a little unusual that I decided I wanted to do that. I've always been obsessed with art theft and art. That's the kind of caper I like. I'm not so much into the robbing the banks for the money or the holdups or stuff like that. For me, it's art theft and art history, and so I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to explore. Writing a young adult romantic comedy. It's in third person. It's not in second person. I'm done with that. It's in third person, a normal he/she novel. Well, that sounded strange, a normal he/she novel, but it's a normal novel that has that kind of third person voice, and it deals with, well, like the romantic story we all had at some point in our life. You meet the girl from the other side of the tracks, and she helps you cheat on a major exam, and you help her commit art theft. I mean, who hasn't been down that road? So I think it's something we'll all be able to relate to.
It's interesting you called it a caper novel. A lot of times they're called heist novels. Is there a difference for you between a heist and a caper?
Mm-hmm. I think a heist is, the movie we're going to see tonight is a heist. It's got quote-unquote professional criminals, and they've got a serious plan to rob something that has real value, and people might get hurt, and there's serious consequences if it goes wrong. It's a planned out criminal heist. It usually involves oftentimes violence. For me, a caper is trying to steal the ridiculous by a group of inept, inexperienced people who shouldn't be doing it, who may be the cast of this movie too, but anyway, it tends to be more comedic than anything else. So the heists are the ones that, if there's guns involved and people know how to use them and there's a chance that somebody's going to get hurt, to me that's a heist. A caper, it's elaborate for no good reason to be elaborate. It's planned out to the nth degree with plan Bs and code names and false drops and all this kind of, your name Rocky, that kind of stuff. And we'll meet here in 2 weeks, that kind of crazy stuff just to make it crazier. That's to me a caper. And the capers are much more fun. My favorite caper novelist of all time is Donald Westlake. If you haven't ever read Donald Westlake, you're in for a real treat. He wrote the best caper novels you could possibly imagine. Hilarious, convoluted, wacky, and of course with caper novels, nothing goes. With heist novels, usually one thing goes wrong and the whole thing tumbles down. With caper novels, everything goes wrong at every point that can go wrong. That just makes it funnier.
Where did these types of stories get their start? Was it in novels or was it in films like Asphalt Jungle? Well,
the earliest ones, you have people like Raffles. He was the turn of the century, a British writer wrote this series about this guy named Raffles. Not Sir John Raffles of Singapore, it was a Raffles in England. This jewel thief, kind of debonair, handsome, suave, gentleman's gentleman who was actually out committing crimes, and along the way he sometimes solved murders for the police as well. But his main reason for being around is that he was this sophisticated thief, and so it was the first one that we saw crimes from the criminal's point of view and cheering on the criminal. The real drive of that doesn't come until, of course, like most things in noir and mystery, the end of the Second World War, when it probably comes from the fact that a lot of GIs would come back from overseas, and a lot of people who were in the service, male and female, and that they saw that the rules that they were supposed to follow in normal life here, well, they broke them. You know, you're not supposed to kill people, and they killed people in combat, and I'm sure some people killed people, and it wasn't such combative situations. You're not supposed to steal things, but there was a lot of looting going on. And I think a lot of people could then relate to the fact that, you know, maybe that criminal element that's always supposed to have been so bad, I mean, the Little Caesar and the Machine Gun Kelly and that whole kind of St. Valentine's Day Massacre type criminal suddenly didn't seem so different and average people. And they come back, and here I was, this machine gun toting Marine in the South Pacific, and I was killing people, and I was tough as nails, and here's some gold bars I stole or something. And now I work as the assistant junior to the sales clerk of the department store, and I have to answer to somebody who was too young to go over and serve, and I have to follow these rules, and I can see how they would chafe under it and sit there, and although they're not going to break the rules, they could understand that there's going to be that fantasy their whole life. I mean, I have the fantasy of like winning the lottery. Perhaps you do. I think it was a lot easier for a lot of these guys just to imagine, boy, oh boy, if I had my Tommy machine gun, I would know. And there would be a lot more sense for that.
Is there any questions do we have at this point? Down the middle, Deborah.
So far. Ask me stuff hard.
I will. Heard Relative Danger, the audiobook,
right.
And I haven't heard you yet.
Right.
But both my husband and I are wondering, why aren't you the narrator? Because we thought that you would have done, in Relative Danger, we thought you would have done a much better book.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know why they didn't ask me to be the narrator of my own books. I did, for the recording that they did of you, I did send over a demo. They asked me to send one over because they talked to me on the phone. They said, you should be, I said, I don't think, and I really mean this, I don't think I was the right demographic. I think it needed to be read by somebody in their 20s because for that audience. You don't, they said, well, you don't sound your age. But that's okay. I know what I sound like, and I don't think I sounded right for it. For the other books, I would love to do it. But when my publisher, Poison Pen Press, sold the rights to the publishing, to the audiobook companies that did it, they pick whoever they want. And I got to tell you, the guy who did Relative Danger, he did a fine job. The guy who did Noble Lies, my third book, folks, don't buy the book. Get the audio book. You can get it from the library here in Rochester. You can download it for free. I'm serious. The guy who reads it is so good. They sent me a review copy. I sat in the driveway for an extra half an hour listening because I had to find out how this chapter ended. The guy is that good. Seriously, that's what you need to get a hold of.
We actually have the regular books for sale in the bookstore.
Well, you know, it's often good to check the original text against the way an actor brings it out. You know, sort of, you know, so yeah. Oops.
Any other questions right now? No, I've got more.
There's a question back there.
Going back to the capers, what's your favorite caper movie and why?
My favorite caper movie? Boy, that's a tough one because I got so many that I really like. I probably should say Asphalt Jungle, but it's not. I think my favorite caper, if we go back to my original meaning of caper, that it's where everything seems to go wrong. There's two that stand out that I recommend strongly. One is The Hot Rock, and that's based on a Donald Westlake novel. It stars Robert Redford. It's about the stealing of a diamond and all they have to go through to get it, and it keeps on going bad and bad. Things just tumble downhill because it just gets out of control. There's a phrase in it at one point, and this will give you an idea of a Donald Westlake novel. They determined that the best way that they'll be able to break in and steal this diamond is if they convince the man that if they can hypnotize the man that runs the elevator. So they hypnotize the man who runs the elevator, and he's going to respond to the phrase, the magic phrase, Afghanistan banana stand. So if they convince him, they can answer to the phrase, Afghanistan banana stand. He'll automatically go into his hypnotic mode and help them. I like that movie so much that in Noble Lies, Afghanistan banana stand becomes a phrase that identifies, that is used in the novel that two people involved in a criminal element used to identify each other. So that would be my first caper. The other one you really should see, because people don't think of this as a caper novel, Kelly's Heroes, with Clint Eastwood and Donald Sutherland. That is, I love, the soundtrack is great too. I just love that song. So those are my top two.